What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of This Dude is Hot on the Basketball Court. As always, I'm your host, Zach Cronin, and today we are going to be talking about the most fiery, the most smoking hot guy in the NBA right now, and that is Jalen Green. The Houston Rockets are on an absolute heater right now. They've won 11 of their last 12 and are only one game back of the Warriors in the play-in race. This is very odd because Alperen Şengün is not with the team. He is nursing, of course, that knee injury, and the majority of this run has been powered by Jalen Green, who is playing not only the best basketball of his career, of his life, but also some of the best basketball in the NBA. Over these last 12 games, he is averaging 27.8 points on 49.6% shooting from the field and 40.9% shooting from three. This is a leap that Jalen Green I don't think has made yet in the NBA, especially this consistency. Not only is he putting up numbers, but this is just beyond entertaining to watch. He truly is a spectacular basketball player when he is locked in like this. As I've watched a bunch of his recent performances, I don't know if maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I do see a little bit of Jamal Murray in his game. Now, I understand that Jamal Murray is, of course, an NBA world champion, a all-star caliber player, one of the best two guards in the NBA, but just watching these guys play, the way that Jalen Green dribbles the ball, the way that he's able to create a shot from virtually anywhere, I'm remarkably impressed with his footwork as well over these last dozen games or so. He just he is a pure scorer, and I don't know what happened. I don't know where this leap came from because just 2 weeks ago I did a video on Şengün, and I said in that video that Şengün is the best player on the Rockets right now, and I still do believe that. However, Jalen Green is, I think, a lot closer to Şengün than I might have thought. I never believed that Green was, going to be out of the league in 5 years. I never thought that he should start learning Mandarin because he's going to be in Shanghai by 2030. But he was a high volume, low efficiency scorer. And that mold is tough to break out of. However, it is crucial to remember the fact that Jalen Green is just 21 years old. After I went ahead and thought of this Jamal Murray comparison, I thought before I come on here and start talking and potentially spreading misinformation, why don't I do a little bit of a comparison between these two when they were both 21 years old? Because I remember Jamal Murray not becoming Jamal Murray only until recently, and the numbers check out. The scoring is pretty much even. There's only 1.6 points per game that separates these two during their age 21 seasons. Green has a slight edge in rebounding, Murray has the slight edge in assists. But the thing for me is the efficiency from the field overall. As a 21-year-old, Jamal Murray shot just 43.7%. Currently, Jalen Green is at 42.4. That is not a sizable gap. It is, of course, a little bit bigger from the perimeter. It's 3.3 percentage points that separates them. But Jamal Murray, again, as a 21-year-old, was not an elite three-point shooter. He shot 36.7%, which is slightly above average. Additionally, they are close to one another in the advanced metrics. I think what I'm trying to say in regards to this is that Jalen Green is showcasing what his potential is. His potential is as an electrifying go-to scorer down the stretch of games. He's not being asked to facilitate. The Rockets are playing a lot of defense. They're also passing the ball considerably, and having a guy like Fred VanVleet to run point guard and not put Jalen Green in a compromised position, I think it not only helps the offense, but also helps Jalen Green's confidence. And this guy, he plays with swag. You watch him, he plays like he is the best basketball player on the court, and it shows. He's bubbly, he's emotive. He really does have all of the makings to be a superstar, at least on the exterior. I'm not sure if his game will ever reach that level, but let's not forget that a guy like Jamal Murray com- contributed tremendously to championship basketball behind Nikola Jokic. If Şengün and Green develop a sort of Jokic and Murray duo, That's going to lead to a lot of good things for the Houston Rockets on top of the defensive first scheme that Ime Udoka is instituting. Of course, you throw in Amen Thompson, you throw in Jabari Smith Jr. The seal, like there really is the sky is the limit for this team. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a little bit of film study on this young man, specifically the performance he put up against the Utah Jazz. This was Houston's eighth win in a row. It was 20. It was a 28-point thrashing of Utah. At least I believe that my math is correct. And in this game, Green finished with 41 points on 15 of 22 shooting and 7 of 11 from three. There was a lot of shot balance in this one. He was taking pretty much whatever the defense gave him. Really, there's nothing like getting your first bucket of the game as a dunk. And not only that, an alley oop dunk. The defense here creates this turnover. Fred VanVleet jumps in the passing lane. It's a 3-on-1. Keontae George is in no position to do anything here. Thompson makes the right decision to get rid of the ball. He can either pass it to Dylan Brooks, who will likely also finish with the layup, but really the guaranteed bucket here is lobbing it up to Jalen Green. And pitch, catch, easy finish. Green in transition, observing the floor, it is effectively a one-on-one. There is a little bit of help that can be provided from Colin Sexton, but if Green puts the ball on the deck quickly and puts his body onto Keontae George, he's going to have a significantly higher chance of finishing this bucket. So little hezzy in and out, gather, kind of a circus shot with John Collins rotating over. But when you're Jalen Green and you have the size and the athleticism advantage, especially if you're able to play fast, if you're running in transition or semi transition, you have to utilize that. You have to capitalize on the defense before they can adjust to you. The Rockets played super fast throughout this game, didn't give the Jazz a lot of time to set themselves on defense. This is where these kinds of buckets come from. Also, another thing I've noticed with Jalen Green in particular is that he just looks more decisive on offense. A huge part of being successful as a young player is knowing what to do and doing it quickly. That's the easiest way to help build confidence for yourself. I saw this with Scoot Henderson early on in the season. He was still adjusting to the NBA, of course, him being a rookie, that's expected. But these guys, they come in, only 1 year at college, coming in from the G League, whatever it is, they're still learning how to play basketball. So yeah, Jalen Green's been in the league for 3 years, but he's still only 21. There's so much more room for him to grow. Rockets play solid defense here. Jabari Smith Jr. with the good contest, and they're playing very small right now. Everyone on this, actually everybody on the court right now is super small. They're able to corral the rebound. Fred VanVleet, immediate outlet. This is something that you teach your bigs when they get the rebound, turn and look up and get the ball to one of your guards. This is the benefit of obviously having multiple ball handlers, is that you can start transition out of nothing. It's just so easy to play with pace when you do things like this. So now Jalen Green, it is kind of a 2-on-2, not really. You have help coming in from behind, but Hendricks here is in no position to guard Jalen Green. If Green can get around and get to his strong hand, it's a bucket. That's exactly what he does. A little crossover makes Hendricks turn around, and at that point, you're unable to recover unless you're an elite defensive player. Unless you're an elite defensive player, if you find yourself, I guess this would be like parallel, or I don't even know what the fuck this is. If you find yourself perpendicular to the ball handler, you're not getting around from this. See, the amount of time that it takes to turn your hips around is all a guy in the NBA needs to get by you and get to the cup. Little one-on-one with Colin Sexton. This is just good shot making. One-on-one doesn't do too much. Every dribble he takes is getting him somewhere. You have the retreat dribble. So he starts one dribble, retreat, swings back with the through the legs. Colin Sexton cuts him off at the baseline. So he slings it behind his back, a low behind the back dribble with the step back, square feet. Like look at this kid's footwork right. Oh, okay. Like every this is just repetition after repetition. He's all square. He's pointed toward the basket. Sexton, while still in his vicinity, this is still too much space for an elite scorer. And I will say that right now, Jalen Green does look like an elite scorer. And he was doing this all throughout this game. This just little pitch and catch. That little through the leg to set himself, that draws enough of a reaction out of the defense to free up the space. Also notice hands down and come up a little bit at the end, but you do that little fake through the leg dribble, gather the ball in your shooting pocket, and he's Colin Sexton. Jalen Green's feeling himself right now. Like he's playing with a ton of just confidence. There's really no one on this court that could stop him. Some more great defense by Fred VanVleet. And this is the benefit of having an experienced point guard. Fred VanVleet does not immediately push towards the basket. He waits for numbers to generate. So he sees right now it's a 1-on-2. I'm sorry, Fred VanVleet is not winning this 1-on-2. So he waits for his help. Jalen Green, I believe this is Jeff Green trailing as well. Both of these defenders here key on Fred VanVleet. This is the easiest lob that you're going to get as an NBA player. This one is more so on VanVleet, but also something that in the film session, Ime Udoka is going to point out to somebody like Jalen Green, because Jalen Green is going to find himself in that position as the primary ball handler. Like, you don't have to play at 100 miles an hour every possession. It's good to mix in a bit of pace. Like, yes, Jalen Green is a freakish athlete, but you're not going to be able to get by on just freak athleticism for the entirety of your career. The more dynamic you can be as a ball handler, as a scorer, the better for your longevity. And even in the short term, it mixes up how the defense has to guard you. If the defense just knows that you're going to put the ball on the deck every time and go to the basket, they're going to adjust. So now we do get a little bit of Jalen Green ball handler action, little pick and roll. This is good individual defense as well. There's just nothing on the backside to help Hendricks here, who is playing fantastic defense. He makes Jalen Green, so he beats him to the spot there, retreat dribble, wait for the play to come up. Jalen Green goes back to his left, gets beat there, sends the ball through his legs. That is a very, very solid move, but there has to be help somewhere. Someone has to close off the lane and force a pass. Like, you're leaving your man out to dry. Again, this is phenomenal defensive effort. If you can make the offensive player change their direction 3 times and remain in front of them, you've done everything you can individually. It is remarkably difficult to stay in front of guys in the NBA. And then, but basketball is a team sport. He does, fall a little bit behind on that leg dribble. I mean, if you just, Jalen Green feels him leaning that way. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just go back to my right. And this is also, not to downplay Jalen Green here. I'm not trying to downplay Jalen Green here, but feeling the defender. This is phenomenal defense. It's high energy, high octane by Hendricks, but there is a little bit of a slip up there, and Green recognizes it. When you feel your man overplay you one direction, figure out a way to get back. Throw in a dribble move, a behind the back would have worked there as well, most likely. And then stay low, get by, easy layup, no help. This is just a rhythm three, kind of a heat check at the end of the quarter. You're sizing your man up. This is that old school 2K size up package. Yeah, of course that's going to go in. Like, everything was going in for the Rockets at this point. I believe this is another heat check. Yeah. The Rockets are just playing for points right now. You can't see because my big dumb head is in the way, but the score is currently 85-53 with 30 seconds left to go in the first half. You've heard of the 2-for-1. The Rockets were playing like a 4-for-3 over these last 2 possessions. They're just chucking shots. They're having fun. Jalen Green is shooting heat checks. He's talking shit. I don't know what he said there. Something along the lines of, I'm that motherfucker, I'm on. Something like that. End of the shot clock. Defense falls apart. This is a good defensive possession by the Jazz. They force VanVleet to pick up his dribble. There's no one sliding over to help to help Van Vliet in this one. I mean, Jeff Green is an outlet, but he's still standing a little bit too close. Like ideally, the outlet does not stand 6 feet, 6 feet away, 7 feet away from the ball handler and towards the defense. You want to be out here closer to the sideline or maybe come up and get a dribble handoff. But Jeff Green kicks it to Jalen Green because this is the hot hand. Right now, he's like, figure something out. Huge, enormous miscommunication on this screen. I I don't even know. Like I don't think Colin Sexton knows what the fuck happened because he's not even looking at the play anymore. Someone fucked up this screen. If you're defending the screener, I would expect that you're gonna not only call out the screen but dictate the coverage of that screen, which does not happen. I mean, this isn't even like a powerful dribble by Jalen Green either. And of course, the defense is compromised. He's below the free throw line. Like, no help. It doesn't matter. There's no one who's going to be able to help on this. He gets 2 feet in the paint. John Collins slides out of the way. He's like, I'm not getting put on a poster. But you play, look at this. There's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. You play solid defense for 20 seconds. And then all it takes is one miscommunication, and it is a wide open layup. There are just some guys who are magnificent dribblers. Jalen Green, he's one of them. There is a lot of finesse to his game. Every dribble, or like 95% of the dribbles that he does, are meaningful. Like he's trying to get somewhere. Multiple counters. This step back as well. If we just look at this back foot right here, this placement is key. The left foot placement is key because that's going to be the foot that he plants on and gets himself square for the shot. There's so much balance here. Like he's not leaning either way. His body is straight, and that's why this is a clean shot for him. And all he needs is that one rhythm dribble through the legs in order to set himself. I want to watch this again just because who doesn't like this? Two dribbles one way back through the behind the back through the legs, sets, water. How does Utah play this screen here? So we have the fake dribble handoff. Fred Van Vliet sets a screen going under the screen. This is certainly a choice by the Jazz, considering that Jalen Green has hit 4 threes, 4 or 5 threes this game, I believe. Also, again, shooting 40% over the stretch, over this stretch of games. Very intriguing decision. Also, like, where's the blitz? Where's the hedge? Where is anybody coming up trying to disrupt this action? There just comes a point where you have to try something. I don't know the game plan for the Utah Jazz heading into this game, but you do not want to be giving up open shots. Okay, you were down by like 30 and a half. You've cut the lead to 22. Like you're still very much in this game, especially when you consider that if you just hit a couple threes, it can be down to 15 points. It can be down to 12 points. But there has to be someone that comes up and interrupts this shot by Jalen Green. Also, obviously, don't be going underneath the screen, but you have to count on the rest of your defense to be there. This is just shooting practice at this point. He's made 3 threes in a row. The last 3 threes that we've watched, the ball has not even grazed the rim. These are like the wettest jump shots I've ever seen. These are warm up caliber wetness. Once again, running in semi transition, no numbers here. I mean, it is, a 3-on-3, I guess, 3 people in the front court or whatever. Jalen Green is most likely not going to get this lob. So what does he do? Hard cuts, falls out. Kendricks does not know where he is because he's ball watching. If you're playing this, get your body square. Get your body turned around and start backpedaling. This is a compromised defensive position, which allows Jalen Green to slide out for the three. And again, another wet jump shot. Şengün drippy as fuck on the bench. Oh my God. This one hits the back of the rim, but that was it. Utah has done a lot of scrambling on defense. Like nobody is able to get matched up. I don't believe this is off of. No, this is not off of a made shot, but get matched up, guys. It's a three. There's three people in the front court here. Boom, bang, bop. Walker Kessler, of course, is going to be slow trotting into the play. But even then, know your personnel. Know who is the hot hand. Jalen Green just slides into an open jump shot. I don't know what my man is doing. Is this sensible? I'm not trying to clown any young players. I don't want to, come off as like being mean or anything. I understand it's very difficult to learn the NBA, but this is a teachable moment. Your priority is always to stop the ball. This guy is not an immediate threat because he's on the other side of the court. You stop the ball, you pick up the big, and then call out that Jalen Green is open. Maybe Walker Kessler trails, the trailing Walker Kessler. If you're directing traffic, you can let Kessler know that Green is right here as you come up and stop the ball. Yeah, this is a mismatch right here, but again, you're keying on Jalen Green. There has to be someone making that call. I mean, even if it is Walker Kessler, because he's the best defensive player on the team, he's an elite defensive player. There needs to be communication about that. He was so locked in this game. I'm surprised that he missed these 7 shots. This was 42 against the Wizards. I don't know if I'm gonna react to. I don't know if I'm gonna take a look at all of this, but I'm having fun doing this. Like I'm having a lot of fun watching Jalen Green. So we have a little action here. I don't know if this is a floppy action. It looks to be a floppy action. Jabari Smith Jr. comes up, sets the screen on the ball handler. Thompson slides down and creates an opening for the shooter. Great job by Green getting to the spot, squaring up, shooting. This is going to be a huge piece of Jalen Green's game going forward. If I'm in the Rockets front office, I'm not constructing a roster where Green is forced to do a lot of the facilitating. I don't think that's his best attribute. I think him operating as a score first and off the ball kind of scorer, I think that is the best role for him. So always trying to have a guy like Fred VanVleet around is going to open up these kinds of plays, and it's going to give Jalen Green easy shots. It's going to give him shots that don't require a lot of energy, which again, if this is going to be your go-to perimeter scorer down the stretch, you're going to want him to be as fresh as possible late in the game. Just sick handling. Hard crossover, fast crossover into the slow step back. This is playing with dynamics. This is how you keep the defense even more unaware than just by going bang, bang, bang all the time. So Jalen Green could have gotten into the paint off of this crossover. There is help right here, however, so obviously not the best shot unless he plans on driving and kicking. But, if you're the best player for your team, you're the best offensive option right now, take the step back three. If you're going to be hitting those kinds of threes, just take them, honestly. This is the opposite of that one step back we watched against the Jazz. This is literally the same exact move. This is a go-to move for him. It's all different, but again, see the same step back. He can do whatever he wants here. If you notice that your man is still up on you, or if there's help on the backside, you can pull it. Or I'm sorry, if you notice that your man is sagging off of you, or there's help on the backside, there's like a Rudy Gobert in there or a Jokic or somebody, pull up for the three. If not, if it's clear and you know that you can beat your man off the dribble, especially if they're not, an elite defender, go through the legs, take a dribble to the basket, get the foul. This is manufacturing buckets right here. Sometimes you score in the NBA and it was just crafted for you by your coach or by somebody else. This is what it means to be a one-on-one scorer. Reading how the defense is playing you and adjusting your move accordingly. As I mentioned before, there were two options off of that one step back, and it's the player's discretion to know when to use which. How did Kispert wind up getting matched up onto Jalen Green here? This is good defensive effort. Late in the shot clock, you force him into a pull-up three. You take your chances with that. It's just unfortunate that sometimes players get stuck in matchups like this. There are just sometimes you're not going to win as a defender. You're just going to get cooked one on one. And that's what happened on that play. You really can't do anything more than that if you're Kispert. So there's another switch. Kispert puts his body on Jalen Green, forces him into a spin. This was a play that I watched and thought, "Oh yeah, I see Jamal Murray in this." Gets beat to the spot, doesn't really, attack the screen that athletically, spins and jumps, does like a little spin jump into a perfect jump shot. Footwork here is pristine. It's pristine. I don't know who the player development staff is with Houston, but if they've made this a focal point of their training with Jalen Green, shout out to them because every elite scorer, it starts with their feet. It doesn't matter if it's Steph, Kawhi, Jordan, Kobe, Tim Duncan. You watch any elite scorer, and it's like they're dancing out there. They're light, they're nimble, they're agile. Their feet allow them to do all of these spectacular things, but it's something that you can't actively think about when you're on the court. Much like anything else when you're playing a sport, the minute you think, it's over. If you start thinking about where your feet are, you're going to fuck up the jump shot. Ooh, yeah, this is lethal right here. Little brush screen. It's fought over. The drive is not there. It's definitely not there. You're driving into 1-on-3 at the minimum, potentially even a 1-on-4. So you see your defender is running over the top of this screen, trying to get in front of you. What do? You stop and you pull back. You set yourself and you cash in. Okay, circus shot. I understand. I understand this is a circus and one. And this is not a shot that you're gonna make 80% of the time. But what I like about this is Green reacts to the blitz. This blitz comes super quickly. They take away the left side of the court almost immediately. So Green, if he as long as he can get that crossover and get a step on his man, there's a lot of real estate for him. And that's exactly what happens. Still, ridiculous adjustment. I think he got fouled like 2 or 3 times on this play, but it all starts with how he reads the defense at the top of the key. He's this guy blitz. He's blitzing mad early, but maybe that was the call. On defense, I'm not going to say it was the right wrong. I'm not going to say it was right or wrong. It was just how the defense played out. And Green could have very easily not recognized this and played it a little more passively, especially considering it's still early on in the shot clock and Houston only has a 6-point lead. This is like when you go to the park and you're just fucking around. You're doing all kinds of dribble moves that you work on at the end of practice when all the fundamental stuff is done. I mean, this is a through the leg, behind the back, through the leg crossover. But what's nice about this is he's always moving forward. That's like he's continuing to go north and south, which is why the east to west dribble, the crossover, is so effective because the defender is in a constant backpedal. It also helps that he crosses over and attacks the lead foot of his man. Cannot recover from that. What a treat it was to watch these couple games, and what a treat it's been just to watch Jalen Green's growth in real time. I don't really think there's anything more I can say about him. He just looks really fucking good right now. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Thank you guys so very much for coming to hang out with me today. As always, everything I'm associated with is down in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video. Drop a comment as well. It really helps out with the algorithm. If you do any of those three things, you will become my new favorite person. And with that, I will catch y'all in the next one.